Hello, y'all. It is time to breathe again on the latest breath of fresh air, Shorty, with your host, Charles Taylor. I am sorry for not being as present as usual. So consider this episode a little bit of catching up and more in a minute on what's coming up with the college football and the NFL previews for a little bit of housekeeping as well. But let's get to a couple of topics that have kind of taken over the airwaves uh, for the last, I say, week and a half or so. So let's start in the NFL and go to the Trey Lance saga coming to an end with the San Francisco 49ers. As y'all know, Lance was drafted by the 49ers, third overall pick in 2021, the 2021 NFL draft. And frankly, it didn't go well. It didn't work out for Lance or the 49ers in terms of having him become a franchise quarterback for them. And on Friday, he was actually traded to the Dallas Cowboys for a mid round pick. Uh, Look, obviously, people are going to jump on the 49ers and say this was a failure for them. Why did they pick this guy? A lot of people were questioning why the 49ers moved up to get Trey Lance, giving up so much draft capital, and people are just waiting in the wings to say, oh, this was a failure, this was a complete disaster, this was horrible, this is garbage. But I'm going to tell you why it's not horrible, really. Number one, let's start with Trey Lance. He gets the chance to have a fresh start. Things didn't work out in San Francisco for a number of reasons. There's not one reason in particular why things didn't work out. Some of it had to do with health, the health of Lance. Some of it had to do with the situations that were coming with the team. And we'll get to the 49ers more in a minute. But for Lance, the guy, he gets a chance to start over and maybe he can do something in Dallas. And we know Dak Prescott is the guy there for the Cowboys, but he's coming up on a contract year, and there are a lot of questions about uh, Prescott and his status as the franchise quarterback for the Cowboys. And we know he's been there for a number of years and there are high expectations. Okay, there's always high expectations in Dallas. I don't understand why, because the Cowboys haven't done anything, but because of the reputation built from a business standpoint with the Cowboys, there are high expectations, and this year they're probably a little bit higher than even normal. Uh, the Cowboys, as much as we talk mess about them, they have been kind of coming up. So they was it 2020? They didn't make the playoffs. 2021, they won the NFC East and was in the wild card round, bounced out by the 49ers. And last year, they were bounced out by the 49ers again in the NFC divisional playoff. But there's steady progress if you're going to look at the big picture. So people are expecting Dallas to do big things this year. I'm not, but those expectations are out there, and this is a huge, huge year for Dak Prescott. And if he's going to prove his mettle, this is the time to do it. He's gonna have to find a way to get the Cowboys to at least the NFC Championship game, or it's gonna be considered another disappointing failure for them. And now that Trey Lance is there, maybe Dallas is thinking he could take over as the starter. They could groom him as the starter. I'm not really seeing that with Mike McCarthy there as a coach, but that's the hope. That he can kind of resurrect his career and get things back on track in Dallas. As for the 49ers, now listen, remember I mentioned the situations. The 49ers are trying to win a Super Bowl now. They are in a prime position to win the Super Bowl right now. They have been to the NFC Championship game the last couple of seasons. And as much as I think they wanted Trey Lance to become the guy, the time frame really didn't match up between what the development phase had to happen with Lance and where the 49ers are as a team. They have a Super Bowl caliber roster. They are one of the favorites to win the Super Bowl. Not the top favorite, but I think they're in the top five or six in terms of the betting favorites. And they don't have the time or the patience right now to let Trey Lance develop. They want to win now. Brock Purdy is back. They went with Sam Darnold as the backup. And I say them, I might as well say we. I'm a 49ers fan, even though I don't play for them. But you know how that goes. The 49ers are trying to win now, and they need the quarterback position to be on par with the rest of the roster. They feel the window is now, and I think they should feel the window is now. As a 49er fan, I think the window is now, and they need a quarterback who's going to come in there and do what needs to be done to get them over the top. Now, as far as the whole failure thing, it's not really a failure from the standpoint of the 49ers are still in a good spot. They have Brock Purdy as the starter, who of course was Mr. Irrelevant in the 2022 NFL draft. So now you have a quarterback you can build around, and you don't have to spend big money on that quarterback for at least a few seasons. Or maybe if Brock Purdy does get him to a Super Bowl, maybe he tries to hold out. Maybe he tries to demand big money. But as it stands right now, you don't have to pay him all that much. So you can continue to build around the roster. That money is free instead of going 45, 50 million a year on a quarterback. So you can continue to build around him. The guy behind him, Sam Darnold, he's not going to command big money. So you can still build the roster around the young quarterback. You actually bought yourself a year or two that you don't have the quarterback taking up all the money against the cap. So, yes, it doesn't look that good from the exterior, but if you're going to take a deeper dive in there, the way the 49ers have built the roster, they're set up for success short term and long term, and they can spread that money out throughout everybody. Of course, Kyle Shanahan is going to feel like he could take any quarterback and at least get them to the NFC Championship game because, frankly, he has. You had Jimmy Garoppolo in there. You had Brock Purdy in there last year. And even through all those injuries, they're still right there in the running for a Super Bowl. So there's really not that big of a concern for the 49ers. This is a situation where things did not work out. Did they give up a lot of draft capital? Yes, they did. But they can still kind of work things around it in free agency, and they do so good developing the players with the supplemental draft picks they get, the conditional draft picks. They do a great job of developing those players, and they always seem to have one of the deepest rosters in the league. So the 49ers are fine. All right, so everybody can harp on the disaster. Oh my God, I can't wait. I can't believe what they did, but the 49ers are fine. This is it was a botch. It happens. It's okay. But they're still good and they're still going to compete. And with this move, they actually freed themselves up a little bit more money instead of having to worry about what they were going to do with Trey Lance. So they went ahead, they pulled the plug, moved on, and now we'll see what Brock Purdy can do. He looks good in practice, and uh, it doesn't look like there's too many after effects from that elbow ligament tear that he suffered in last year's NFC Championship game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the other story I wanted to get to was what's going on with the Spanish Soccer Federation and that mess with their president, Luis Rubiales. Um, this is sad for a lot of reasons. You're taking away from what the Spanish women's soccer team did. They just won the Women's World Cup. And I guess Luis Rubiales decided, he got caught up in the moment, so he wanted to grab the face of Jenny Hermoso and kiss her on the lips. You can't do that. You just simply cannot do that. That can't happen. And for as defiant as he's been when he came out and called the people who were criticizing the kiss idiots, it was just it was crazy. And then he came back and apologized, and now he's saying he's not stepping down. And the women's soccer team is saying they won't play another game as long as he's president. What a hot mess this is. Look, man, step down. Just step down. You made a horrible mistake. Step down. Go away. Think about what you did. I mean, look, you can't do that, and you're on the world stage. You can't do that. You act like a professional, shake their hands, and go about your business. And I mean, whatever's going on the side, if there is anything going on the side with them, you just never know these days. Then do that off to the side. But look, dude, you're the president, and you're supposed to carry yourself a certain way. And what you did was completely unprofessional, and it was uncalled for. So step down. It's just sad because it's taken away from what should be a celebration of what that Spanish soccer team did. And they came, I won't say from nowhere, they were an up and coming team, but they weren't among the favorites to win the Women's World Cup. You know, the U.S. World Cup team had won the last couple of competitions in 2015, 2019, but they flamed out in the round of 16. And Spain came up, they beat Sweden, and then they beat England in the final 1-0. This should be a celebration of what they did, but instead, we're talking about this president who is just is acts like he's above authority, and now he doesn't want to step down, and it's just a hot mess. And we'll see how it turns out if he ends up stepping down, which I think he will end up stepping down because if the women's soccer team aren't going to play, that's going to get into a lot of people's pockets. That's going to get into a lot of people's payroll. And anytime money is involved, and politics too, um, things are going to be changing. So I don't think he's going to be around much longer. And frankly, he probably shouldn't be if that's how he's acting. So that's what I'm breathing on for today. Y'all make sure y'all visit the Breath of Fresh Air YouTube channel, smash that subscribe button, and keep the likes coming. Or excuse me, follow the Breath of Fresh Air Facebook page. As far as the NFL and college previews go, Patrick Brackett and I will do our separate shorties on both. We'll have our picks for who's going to win those conferences and be at the final four for the college football playoff. That shorty for both me and Patrick will come up this week, this coming week. The NFL preview will be the following week, and we'll do the same thing. As for the webcast itself, I am still working on a few things with that, and we should be back. The target date for that was not really a target date, but look for us to come back with the show around mid to late October. So that would give us a little bit more time to work on what we're trying to do with this show, the next levels. I've been doing work during the time that we haven't done the webcast, and I'll share that a little bit more as the time goes on. But just know when the webcast comes back, it will be a better product even than it was when we were doing the show before. So look forward for that. We thank you guys for sticking with us, staying with us, catching the shorties, and some of the blog articles that I've been writing as well. So you guys take care. Y'all have a great weekend on this special Saturday edition of Breath of Fresh Air. Y'all take it easy and look forward to the college football and NFL shorties that will be coming from Patrick and myself. Until then, take care, and we will talk soon.